So Juju came to our rescue.
Hey?
Juju.
Morning, Tsepo. How are you?
Let's talk money first.
We'll
greet later.
What do you mean Juju came to the rescue? I thought it was Steenhuisen. We're on budget 3.0 now.
South Africa, it's a movie, eh? It's a nice movie. Sometimes it's Comedy Central.
But I like this movie, man.
Yeah, no, it's playing out nicely now.
Things happen in this country, eh?
Really, they are happening. Now we can greet each other. How are you, Toby?
I'm well, man, Tsepo. Yes, I haven't seen you for a while with all these public holidays. Hey, they must cut these public holidays, huh? What's
Actually, they were talking about it in the radio. People are saying South Africa is too nice. We have a lot and lots and lots of public holidays.
Yeah, I'm telling
Especially
you.
during this time, April and May. It's too much.
Yeah. So what's it with budget 3.0?
No, it seems like we're getting messages from the banks.
All the reversals.
And then
They
everyone
just
is
upped my
like,
blood pressure last week and now they're saying, sorry. It was just a joke.
yeah, no. Well, I guess they came to our rescue, so now we're going to sit on our 15%.
Yeah, so no, thank you, DA and EFF. I think those two parties saved us, the comrades.
Yeah, they did.
Hey?
They did. And then I think there's also still another suggestion that, you know what, there's too many people in the cabinet. They must cut off a lot of deputy ministers.
Hey, you want Ramaphosa to throw a Trump?
Not really to throw a Trump. It's Juju who was suggesting that they must cut off a lot of, because some departments they believe that they don't need deputy ministers on those departments.
Oh man, as long as we're performing, eh? I mean, whether it's a small cabinet or a large cabinet, we must just perform.
I guess it is what it
anyway,
is.
how are you up with? How are you keeping?
I was at the CCMA Friday.
Yeah.
Dealing with a union, some of our comrade friends.
Oh, that's the same union we're going to be talking about today. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went there without any paperwork, nothing.
Okay.
Because I knew already what is that they were going to say. The same meeting we had several times where you give them a breakdown of payments and everything and how does the pay structure work and everything, but still they go to the CCMA and said there was a unilateral change of terms and conditions in employment of their members.
That is such a good example of what we're going to be talking about today.
Then I had to tell the commissioner, these people are wasting your time because we had back and forth meetings with them. But still, it seems like there's no understanding. I'm telling you now, you can issue the certificate now. We can go back and sit down. We're still going to come back for the same thing. So they're just wasting everyone's time. And that guy was chewing a gum, and the commissioner was like...
I almost thought you said that the guy is the commissioner chewing the gum.
No.
The union guy.
The union guy was chewing a gum, and the commissioner was not impressed with that. Eh? Show professionalism, man. Please, man. Throw that thing away.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a new program.
Yes.
Chaile Time is evolving, is developing, so we're putting a lot more focus on helping employees getting jobs, you know. So we have now a program called Chaile Shout Out. And in this shout out, we're giving employees an opportunity to send us a selfie video of about 30-40 seconds and then do a bit of marketing for themselves in terms of what kind of position they will be interested in looking for. And then obviously we make the person's contact details and the CV available in the link below in the description. You will find a link there where the person's CV is downloadable. But that's not all, Tsepo.
Yes.
We also now have Chaile Job Review. At the end of this session, we have our job advertisements that was placed in our HR community, fresh jobs in the last 7 days that we're going to advertise on this program right at the end of the session, where people can also access it and access the link with the database in the description below and then apply for positions. So that's just one of our Chaile ways of how to assist employees getting jobs.
So it will be, employers will have access to the CVs.
Employers will have access to the CVs.
Employees will have access to the fresh jobs.
They'll have access to the fresh jobs just by clicking on the link below. That's now if the employers don't get us in to fire the people, Chaile.
Yeah, but that's a great initiative, eh?
Yeah, we try to make a difference. So who's our first shout out, Chaile?
We're sending a shout out to Kidiemetse Palesa Madiba, who is the client relationship manager. She's got a lot of experience and she's been working long for Discovery Health, and she's currently studying her degree in human resource management.
Also, let's learn a bit more about this employee.
Yes. So yeah, she's looking at the CV. She's been doing great. She's been doing great because she's liaising with clients and everything. And then I think with her now currently studying HR manager with her experience combined.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I mean, yes, there's so much to learn in the HR space. It's quite broad, and really it is. I was so surprised. We're now on WSP and ATR submissions deadline. For those who don't know, the deadline is 1 minute before 30th of April each year, which is today. Okay. And lo and behold, in our HR network last night, me and another consultant in Cape Town, we were just laughing for what we saw on the network. One guy is a senior HR manager asking last night, hey, does anybody know how WSP and ATR submissions work? And we just I asked, do you want like a full course now on skills development? He said, yes, please. I'm like,
with 1 day left.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe you should pay somebody to come sit with you. And then in the sideline, me and this other consultant were just chatting and laughing. It's like, how do you wake up 1 day before submission deadline? So yes, there's a lot to learn. And I'm sure she will also be a great candidate that employers can look at. So let's just have a bit of a look at her. And then, hopefully some people can contact her and we can organize her a job.
She will definitely come all right.
Good day, my name is Palesa Madiba. I worked as a client relationship manager in the medical aid industry where I built strong communication and client service skills. I am well organized and known for being the best team player. I was studying my HR degree, however, I had to put it on pause due to financial constraints. I am looking for an opportunity where I can add value and grow professionally and be part of a team that is driven and people focused. I am looking for an opportunity in Johannesburg or Pretoria. Thank you so much.
So what are we talking about today, Tori?
Fighting the wrong battles. Unions versus reality. Let that sink in.
Unions versus reality.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Okay.
Union saved employees from employment. The employer said, your fixed term contracts came to an end.
But when you use the word saved.
Yeah, they saved them from employment. Not unemployment, saved them from employment. So the employer told staff, your fixed term contracts came to an end because the project at the mine came to an end. Please apply for the new project and new positions that are available. What did the union say?
No.
Don't apply. We will handle this at the CCMA. So what happened? 15 unemployed people.
So what now? What's the way?
So Chaile, was this a win or epic backfire?
It's a backfire because people lost their jobs. They could have applied, and who knows how many of them could have.
So unions are fighting the wrong, not always, sometimes, especially with the one I'm referring to is the one that you were at the CCMA. When did you say Monday? No, Friday. You were Friday at the CCMA. That's one union we're talking about, where unions often fight for their own interests and not that of their members and give bad advice.
So what happened in this case?
So
get into details.
Let's just, before we are going union bashing, we are doing union bashing a bit today. I think there's scope for that also.
Are we going to be safe in the corridors of the CCMA? And
we tell all the do's and the don'ts and all the illegal stuff we talk about on this platform. Is that not true? But before I do the union bashing, okay, I don't think anybody can deny the contribution unions had made to the employment landscape over many decades. So let's not create the incorrect context or understanding here either. I mean, our benefits we receive or have, like annual leave and paid sick leave and maternity leave and overtime pay and public holiday pay, all that is thanks to the trade union movement over many decades negotiating and collectively bargaining with employers. So thank you for the unions for that. But what employees often don't understand is that unions also have its own interest. Nothing wrong with that. But my concern is that employees sometimes and often they merge themselves so into the union, especially on the political side of things. Yes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of politics around this too. The reality of the matter is, Tsepo, is that unions, like any other organization and company, must get customers.
It's a business.
It is a business to some extent, okay? And in their perspective, it's gaining new members. So I understand that you have to play the political game. It is like that too. And if I was a unionist, I would have probably done the same thing. But the problem is this, me sitting on the other side now, I'm like, the employees don't understand this, that a union also has its own interests. And often, unions are fighting for their own interests, and employees do not have the discernment to distinguish between when is the union fighting for their interests and when are the unions fighting for their own interests. Okay, so in this case, there's two cases I want to talk about. The one relates to your union that you're involved with, and the other one is one I'm involved with. So the one I'm involved with, there's this mine, and the staff are employed on a fixed term contract on a yearly basis, okay? And because, this company is a subcontractor to the mine, and they have to tender every year for projects. So naturally, at the end of the term, the project expires. And whatever the new project entails, there will be new positions available, and every year then the staff must apply for the positions that are available. And guess what? The union said, no, don't apply. We'll go and handle this at the CCMA. Today, 15 people are unemployed because they refuse to have applied for the positions. Now let me just...
So what happened now? Did other external people apply for the jobs and get the jobs?
You see, the thing is, in a new scope, the client the new project requires about 5 less staff than it was currently employed by the subcontractor. So I suppose they would have cut about 5 people, okay? But now, 15 people lost their jobs because they refuse to apply, because they're playing politics here. They're trying to be difficult. But now this is where the employees are not applying because of the advice of the union. Obviously, the union wants to show some strength, and it's a bit of a power struggle, whatever the case may be. And then I'm like, but hold on, okay, why? A normal, reasonable man will say, apply. If you don't get the job, still go to the CCMA. Okay? But don't not apply, because if you don't apply for the job, there's no job. Hey? But now, for those of people that don't necessarily know, okay, a fixed term contract, it's a temporary contract of employment. It's typically time-based or project-based, okay, or event-based. So in this case, it's a fixed term contract that is based on a specified time, a tender that was given, and this tender was for a 1-year period. So there's no such thing that you're not permanently employed and that employment must be automatic, okay? And they're also not complaining about a reasonable expectation was created. And the commission also, we're busy with the case, and the commission was also like, okay. But anyway, the fact of the matter is they thought that they must just automatically get the new jobs. They may not even necessarily qualify for the new jobs. But okay, so a fixed term contract typically must be motivated. And I've got here section 198B. That's B for Benin.
So before you read this, someone misinterpreted The law.
Chaple, there's no misinterpretation of the law. This is a union playing politics and trying to be difficult. I've had it before, okay? Where you have a union coming on board and they like putting the finger in the nose of management because we will show management.
Yes.
We will show management, and then viva, employees join. Woo, this union is great. Huh? This is what this is. There's no misinterpretation of law.
Now they
here, man.
gambled with people's livelihoods. Mos.
Yeah. And the staff are the victims.
Anyway, you can read.
Yeah, so just to give some context as to what a fixed term contract is. Now, I know Section 188B, among others, are applicable to those earning below the earnings threshold, but the guiding principles are the same. Okay, so a fixed term contract is when a contract is temporary. The underlying nature of the job is temporary. It's not like an indefinite or permanent contract where the underlying nature of the job is permanent. So, Section 188B, subsection 4 gives some pointers here as to when to fix a term, okay? So A, when the person is replacing another employee who is temporarily absent from work, like a lady going on maternity leave or something like that, or the person is employed on account of a temporary increase in the volume of work, which is not expected to endure beyond 12 months. Think farm workers here. C, the person is a student or a recent graduate who is employed for the purpose of being trained or gaining work experience in order to enter a job or profession. D, the person is employed to work exclusively on a specified project that has a limited or defined duration, like in my client's case now. E, here's a nice one. The person is a non-citizen, think Zimbabwean, okay, who has been granted the work permit for a defined period. So you don't give your foreigner on a work permit a permanent contract. You give him a fixed term contract that is valid as long as his papers are valid, okay? F, the person is employed to perform seasonal work. G, the person is employed for the purpose of an official public work scheme or similar public job creation scheme. H, is employed in a position which is funded by an external source for a limited period. Or I, has reached a normal or agreed retirement age applicable in the employer's business. That's why a company will give a fixed term contract typically, okay? So this is what happened in this place too. So the employees, the union should have told him, listen, sunshine, you are employed in a fixed term contract based on this tender. Every year there's a tender. Okay, you reapply for the positions. If you don't get it and we feel it's unreasonable, then go to the CCMA. But no, unions always want to show the strength. We will show. Sorry. You know where I last saw this? Wasn't it PV Botha? For volk and for fatherland. Unions are the same. We will show management. Who are they?
Yeah, that is really what is happening with the unions. So. But now the case is still going on in the CCM.
The case is still going on. But I'm just saying it's been months now. It's almost been a year now that people are out of jobs. So the company had to get external candidates to fill those positions.
And the second one?
The second one is your friends, your comrades. So, besides the issue you had now, the same issue we had, this case took like a whole year and it just died out, okay? The company, they were wrong. They deducted money from the staff's salaries for uniforms. Okay. It costs about 300 Rand a year. So there's like a 300 Rand deduction per year for uniforms. Now, this is a fairly new union. Now, obviously, what do they want to do? They want to show vervolking for fatherland. Okay? Because they must get new customers now, you see, which are new members. Okay, so then they filed a dispute to the CCMA, Section 73 a dispute. The company owes them the deductions it made. That's not besides the fact that this is actually a Section 34 in the Basic Conditions of Employment Act dispute, which, by the way, must go to the Labour Court. Okay, so the CCMA don't have jurisdiction to entertain this dispute. Okay, but now you have this stupidity here. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, they're filing at the wrong forum, they're fighting the wrong dispute. But while investigations went on, now this company, their payroll is manual. Payroll lady is not really a qualified payroll expert. Okay, so then they investigated for the whole year, and you know what they realized, Chaple?
They've been overpaying them.
They've been overpaying the staff. Each one of them for the entire 12-month period was overpaid between 5,000 and 8,000 Rand. So naturally, if you scratch here, they want to scratch there now, you see. So Now the company wants their money back. And you
And
also
what
say,
does the union say?
they're not here for that. They're not here for that.
I love that
They're here
part.
for the uniform deductions.
I love that part where they
And
say,
you know what?
we are not here for that. We are focusing on the... Then I'm like, let's talk. Let's sit down and talk. And they pack their stuff up and left.
You know what's the scariest part, Chaile? Is Section 34 of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act allows for deductions to be made for payroll errors. And when you tell them that unions like hard ass, they don't listen. But you know what? Okay, I get the fact that the union must show strength, viva, and whatever the case may be. But now the members are suffering because now the company wants all they are more than willing to give them the 300 Rand back. But they want the 8,000 Rand back too.
But they're ignoring that now. They went on and say now people are being paid wrong.
They filed the same dispute twice. Both came to nothing.
Yeah, came to
Absolutely nothing. But you know what happened now? In terms of the recognition agreement, there's a clause in there where they agreed if the union ever falls below 30% membership, they forfeit all their organizational rights. You know, the members now, they were dropping out like flies.
Yeah, I just saw resignation.
I think they're standing on 20% or something like that at the moment. We already gave them notice. So everything is coming to nothing. Even the union shot themselves in the foot. So I want to ask you, Chaile, is this a win or an epic backfire?
It's an epic backfire because they didn't choose their battle wisely. You know,
No, they didn't.
It's always wise to choose your battle. It's like, I know we've been saying this a lot of times. It's like when you go to the CCMA and then someone agrees to taking a settlement of 1 month. Then you talk to the employer and say, let's settle this matter and then get over and done with. And the employer says, no, I'm not going to pay for this. I'm not going to give a cent. Then late, after 3 months or so, things doesn't go exactly according. Then the ruling, the award comes and say the person must be paid 6 months or 3 months or something. You see now, of which it's something that could have resolved and paid. Yeah. So
But it's true what you're saying, you know, and it cuts both ways, to employees, unions, and employers, you know. At the end of the day, the best way is, honestly, if there are issues, to sit around the table and look at all the issues and solve it, you know. And if the employer is wrong, like in this case, the employer said, you know what, we actually didn't know it was wrong, okay? And they said, you know, can't we just wait for the new financial year, okay? Then we will stop this practice. We will pay out of our own. And then we will forgive the 8,000 Rand overpayment. You know, all the company was asking for them not to refund the 300 Rand. As from the new financial year, okay, that they will stop this practice. They will pay for uniforms. But if the union agrees, then there will be no deductions for the 8,000 Rand that the staff per person owes them. And the union just said, no. Come on, you know. Staff must also wake up. They must take responsibility also for themselves. If they belong to a union, they take responsibility. Because there is a fiduciary duty.
Yeah.
I wanted to read here in Section 213 of the Labour Relations Act. Maybe I must read this quickly. I think this is important. Where is that section? It's here somewhere. It's in this green book here.
But sometimes they just go with the masses. You see, people say, let's do this, and then they go. Some of them, they just joining without understanding what is happening.
One of the definitions here of an employee, any person who in any manner assists in carrying on or conducting the business of an employer. Okay? I don't see union here. So this is where the unions are laughing. No? Laughing at you as the member. Why? Because the definition of the employee, which means the person that's protected in this Labour Relations Act is the employee. Okay? So when the union tell you don't apply, the union's one laughing when you don't get the job. And when you lose at the CCMA. You have as an employee has a fiduciary duty, a duty of goodwill towards your employer to listen to what they tell you. Okay?
I'm defending my comrades here. Some of them, they don't know.
The unions don't know.
No. Employees. They just go with the masses.
But that's why we have Chaile Time, Chaile. We're telling them, yes, join the union. They are great. They are. But just keep in mind.
The problem is not joining. They're putting all their faith and
don't put all your
trust
faith
and everything.
You must still listen with discernment.
Because
At the end of the day, the relationship is between the employer and the employee, not the employer and the union.
my friend is a shop steward, and I trust my friend because his cousin's older brother's younger sister is part of that union's organization.
And then you lose your job.
You see, so I trust my friend, and my friend says we must join the union, and then we must rely 100%. If I come wearing wrong uniform at work, and then I get reprimanded, I don't want to listen. I go to the union. Each and everything that I'm doing wrong, I go to the union. So I don't want to listen. You see now, 100% relying on that. But people, and then we know that people don't know that. People are lazy. Information, they don't want to get information. You hear something, you live by the thing that you hear without even verifying the information. Fact checking, you see.
Anyway, Tipo, that's for this week.
Okay, thank you very much.
See you next week. So,
see you soon.
Yeah, so if people want to learn, they need to learn to, take advice from their union members or from the unions with a pinch of salt, eh? That's food for thought.
That's food for thought.
This was a union bashing session.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
Toby.
see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. Let's have a look at some of the vacancies posted nationwide on our Harmony Peoples Network this week. First up, we have an opening for a Director of Human Resources Management at the Middelburg Municipality. Also, at Middelburg Municipality, we have an opening for a Director of Property Valuations. AWS Global Freight seeks a Marketing and Communications Specialist in Johannesburg. An ISP F&O company in Cape Town is looking for a sales consultant, and Rivers Labor Consultants in Howick is looking for a HRIR consultant to join their team. For the full information of the mentioned positions, how to apply, as well as more available positions, find the vacancy link in the description. You will also find a link to a useful video on how to compose a winning CV and have a successful interview. Tune in again next week for more Harmony vacancies.